morning, everybody. It is I, axisALiVE, joined by the one and only Silver, the Antidote. We are here this morning to give you all a market update on what is going on the HEX chart. How you doing, Silver?
So. Got a long flight tomorrow. So, yeah, lucky I can jump on now and get this one done with you. How about yourself? You good?
Fantastic. Other than, red candles, but, it's not that bad. Sometimes you got to sell off a little bit to give people a chance to buy. Nobody wants to keep buying tops all day.
So let's get into it. Yeah. What did you see happen today? Give me your brief.
This is going to be a quick and short update, guys. We just want to kind of, touch on some of the things that are going on in the chart, okay? So we're going to take a look at HEX. I'm going to pull it up now. As far as like structurally, we had a kind of a attempted recovery last night off that I think it was like 6.6 or something. And then this morning we saw a big wallet come in and start dumping en masse. It was actually the one that we talked about on the last show with Silver and Kareem. And, even though that this guy's selling off, he had about 127, I think it was, million HEX sitting in his wallet. He's been, Silver's been on this guy for a long time, and he'll go into the details of why this guy has been a net extractor from the system for a long time. So effectively him getting out now gives people a chance to buy. And that's why I have this chart up now for you guys, is because this guy's selling this local top, which is totally healthy. This is just going to be a typical bull flag pattern, and you're way above support here. The regular base channel for this was developed back when we came off our bottom and kind of came up to test that was like 2.83 cent range, and then we sold off, and we had that mega dumper dump 150 million in one go, and then that was caught with tons of limit orders and support. And so in a worst case scenario, I think this current actor's got like roughly 90 million HEX left over, and if he were to just market dump them all in one go, it'd be about $5 million of sell pressure on the chart. But there's more than that in the liquidity pools as well, as we'll take a look at here in a second. Just here on the USDC pool, this amount here is over $4.5 million just on this pool alone. And that there's limit orders sitting back here to protect price. So as long as other big players don't jump on and monkey pile on the price, we should be good to just start to correct off these levels. I see this bar here on the USDC 1.3% pair. This guy put in about 58K of a liquidity bar, which will help. It's probably just somebody who wants to front run anybody who wants to accumulate inside the thicker bands. Trying to collect as much as he can at those prices. So I think, the sentiment's still good. This is just a typical retracement. This is healthy and good for the market. And you don't want this guy who got in on January 1st of 2020 to be able to come back and just keep extracting millions more as every time the price doubles. So him leaving now is actually a good thing for price. So yeah, Silver, right. What do you want to speak to on this? I'm going to bring up your graphic now.
Yeah, so I was going to put this one out as a tweet. Obviously, you managed to get hold of AXiS and say, okay, it's going to be better to do it live, because there's a lot of people when I do these tweets that don't really follow and understand. They just say, hey, it looks like a Christmas tree all lit up, depending on which color indicators I'm using at the time. So for this particular show, everything's red. Okay, not good. Red means, negative person. So what I've got here in the top left corner, hopefully you guys can see this. Is this on the widest screen you can make it, AXiS? Can you zoom it a bit more? Just curious.
Yeah, I'm pretty screwed on that.
That's max, no problem. Yeah. No, that's okay, no worries. I think it's okay. I mean, I can see it. So I'll just go with it.
We'll just, annotate it, and I'll kind of circle my cursor around what you're talking about. Yep.
All right, so 1,135 days ago, transaction comes in from Bitstamp, about 280 ETH. So we see that the next box below that, 2 transactions go out, basically equaling the same amount, and that goes into obviously acquiring the HEX in the first place. So what we quickly did was find out the price back at that time as well. And I think you said, AXiS, it was $100 and...
It was roughly $128 per ETH at that day.
$128 per ETH. So this value back then was about 37.5K, I think we just roughly said, plus minus. So obviously back then, ETH super cheap compared to today, as was HEX. They then obviously purchased a huge amount And if you go down to the bottom right-hand corner, you can see it was about
50 million
shortly
to
after
stab.
that. Yeah, these are the stakes that are going out.
Gotcha.
And there were 5 stakes that went out, and 3 of those are now done with. And this is probably the one you're on now. That is the last stake that he's just pulled out now. The one with the last, no, the one below, the last crossed out
This one
line.
here. Yep, that's
So
50
yeah,
million.
that one is, yeah, that's the one that's paid out the 127 as of 6 days ago. They still have 2 remaining stakes, the next one, which are not lined out just yet. And you can then cross-check that in the black box above when the 2 hours go up. And that will show that it's an end stake ending same time, February 2024 and February 2025. So remaining T-share balance is 18.1K. And they obviously still have the liquid remaining, which again, there's an arrow going up to it saying 90 million remaining, which, roughly about 6 million if it was sold at, fair market value. Obviously, there won't be that extractable amount from it. And then this is what's, amazing as well, is you see the little 2 yellow boxes, which comes from the hexfire.io website. This is the estimated price of those stakes at the time that they made them. All right, so this is where it becomes insane. And I'd probably say drop that and let me go to screen now. This person, during that entire phase, during the last 3 years, has extracted value, only ever sold, never bought, never supported price. They used to have a lot of T-share. That is now diminishing over time. They are diluting. What I was going to do was actually go through the price chart of HEX and actually indicate at every price range that this guy has sold. Because sometimes it's interesting to see, are they selling lows? Are they saying highs? Or what the sort of thing is? Anyway, didn't have time to do that. But I can tell you that they don't care what the price is. Okay, they just sell because they only put in $14,000, $15,000, $16,000 onto each of these stakes, and they are extracting millions. So the combined extracted value this guy has created from the $37,000 investment so far is actually $12.5 million, and he still
that's
has
insane.
90. He still has this 90 million hex on the table. So, AXiS, add something to this.
Yeah, I mean that's a lot of gains. That's, if anything, that's a positive for the HEX contract. I mean, it proves how powerful this thing can be, that you can put in, if you can catch a bottom, right? That was the low there in January of 2020. Yeah. Actually on the 5th was the all-time low. If you catch these 96, 97, 98% bottoms on HEX and ride them up, and stake for a meaningful amount of time, this guy obviously had some level of conviction in the system. He brought in $37,000 of ETH and took a bet on HEX back when, there was no guarantee that HEX was ever going to be worth anything, right? And so that was again, there's some mental gymnastics that had to be had there. This guy's somewhat sophisticated in that he was willing to risk Ethereum that could have potentially went to like $5,000 or $10,000 in the next cycle. I know that was like a lot of the talk back then when it was, coming out of the bear market. It was only like 125, 130 bucks around that time. I know for me there was this inner dialogue of, I'm still a bit of a Bitcoin and ETH maxi, and I wasn't so sure, about HEX, so I did my little bit of stakes early on, but I wouldn't have had the nuts to maybe ape in with that kind of money. And so the fact that you can come in off a 96, 97, 98% drop on HEX and expect that these are the kinds of returns that you're going to get in 2, 3, 4, 5 years out should be a price positive or a positive notion, right? That, if you guys are coming in, you're looking at this on the sideline, if you're a current shark, if you're sitting on the T-shares, look at how you're outpacing everybody else. Like, I know there might be a temptation to dump, like if you're a shark watching this or a dolphin watching this, there might be a temptation to dump and extract, like let's say turn $37,000 into $12 million of liquidity, but think about what you're giving away as well, because when HEX really gets adoption on a larger scale, like you're going to get, and it will, you're going to get like dollar price points, and it would be much more beneficial for you to, I mean, not saying this is everybody's goal. Some goals, are just to like make millions and exit and leave and then go live a life that you want to live. That's fine. But the smarter play would be as HEX price goes into those $1, $10 plus ranges, you could roll that kind of economic energy in the system on a shorter time frame and then help ratchet up the T-share price and just sell interest.
Yeah, and I think the other one is people should study that in this particular trend of the market where prices have already retraced a massive amount and now we're coming out, particular players that I believe have more of a moral responsibility, that if they're not actively actually buying and creating support themselves for the industry, for the ecosystem, for what are true hexagons, because there are a lot who are, just extracting, I would say at least be a little bit supportive of adding LP positions and selling out as the price rises instead of just market dumping, because this can create a negative aspect for the rest of the price chart. Although AXiS will state that certain things are healthy, there's a lot of people that put a lot of effort and things into trying to educate, get the market moving. And like sometimes this to a lot of guys, there's be a lot of guys out there today that just see this and be like, bang, smack in the face. What the just happened? Like, why is it always just one shark that actually just does this stuff in the charts? This is why I say, whales can shit all over charts at any particular point. And what's even more fascinating is that this guy clearly doesn't even give a shit about snapshot. Doesn't even care about post chain, right? And it's like, from someone that had such a powerful position. And if you go back to the picture that I made there as well, AXiS, I just want to show you the bottom, I don't know which side it's going to come on your screen, but the bottom left-hand corner. This is what's going to happen to this guy within 2 years. Okay, zoom into that picture. Within 2 years, our faces are covered. Within 2 years, this shark is going to be dead. He will have walked away with whatever money he's extracted, and HEX will be redistributed to everybody that's acquiring it now, and the price is going to be over, dollar ranges. And this guy's going to be like, shit, you know what? I just lost out. Okay, I made $20 million, $50 million. This guy's lost out on probably $250 million by what it is that he's doing. That's the realistic fact of what's going on. So that is opportunity for other people. It's a little bit hard to see it now because it is like, a punch in the face from people that should be supportive of community. But again, this is probably the first time this guy's ever actually been rich as well. And he probably doesn't even know what to do. And he's probably going to waste it on, Lambos, blow, Vegas, baby.
Yeah.
And
I don't know.
rinse, repeat.
Who knows which one this is? I mean, you're probably watching the stream. But check it out, man. Just, what happens to you is that if you're in this position and you're extracting all this value, is you get to now watch the price chart go up without you over the next 2 years. And maybe at some point you like, okay, well, I bought enough cool shit, and now I want to start buying my position back. But the problem is that you're never going to be able to get back the position that you once had, because once HEX starts to move, it moves quickly, as you saw. It went from 1.7 cents to 7.9 cents in like less than 60 days, And so it's just like, to me, it's like, I'm not sitting in that position, right, where I I'm pulling out that kind of money, and it doesn't have to be that way for me. For me to be happy, I can live on much less, and I think I have a longer term vision. Obviously, you guys saw me tweet this yesterday. I basically put out a chart yesterday where you combine Bitcoin's second cycle on a 6-month chart over the HEX price chart. And I mean, this thing, if it plays out just like Bitcoin, obviously you can have your opinions about whether or not that's a possibility or not, but if it were to, I mean, you'd be seeing potentially $7 HEX this cycle, right? And that could be as soon as like next year, you guys. Like, so just I just think about what you're doing. It's just like I'm not trying to. I'm actually telling this guy that I would rather see him exit now because it'll make this
Yeah.
prompt more possible. But just
Get the fuck
when,
out.
but if you're a shark that is on the fence about selling or not, maybe you should rethink because, if you do want to sell, why not set limit orders out here? And if you don't know how, ask somebody. It's not that hard to do.
Yeah.
Or set
Yeah.
liquidity out at like the 12 to 20 cent range. If you don't know how to do it, ask somebody, right? So that
Yeah.
as the price moves up, you're actually just naturally, as a function of new buyers coming in, acquiring USDC, and as the price moves past your limits, or as your moves it past your liquidity, you're sitting on USDC or ETH, whatever you want. If your goal is to get ETH, set liquidity on the HEX ETH pair if you want, or HEX WETH pair if you want. USDC, put it on the HEX USDC pair. If you want help doing that, ask somebody. Like, we're here for that very reason.
How does this help, especially in the particular market that we have now? Liquidity is very, very small in the higher price ranges. Momentum is building; it's still strong. There's a lot of demand that is coming. So, like you say, yes, to position them, you're gonna make more money. You're going to support the price. You're going to give other people opportunity to buy into it and to keep the momentum building, which also
Exactly.
keeps your other bags much stronger as well. And you're creating a better chart. Just to do market dumps is simply retarded. Okay,
It's a
especially when it's
mistake.
just extraction. Yeah,
It's a
retarded.
mistake. Like,
It's
what
just
are you gonna like? I cannot imagine what this guy wants to do with that money. I know I've heard this over and over from OGs where, the guys that are looking to make it on this next cycle, they're like, well, I'm gonna pull out money and I'm gonna put it into bonds, or I'm gonna put it into something else that's a consistent yield. And I just laugh at that. I'm like, you're not gonna outpace crypto, especially not the good
no,
ones. You're just not going
no
to.
way.
And even though you're gonna incur all this crazy volatility, the gains are so freaking good off the all-time high that the new floor is going to be way above the previous all-time high because we're so early on Hex. Like, for example, the reason why I want you guys to keep this in mind is, look, 429 buys to 249 sells. You're saying that this one guy who can push price down for maybe 4 or 5 days at best, maybe 3 days, is going to compete against a market that's outdoing the sellers 2 to 1 every single day for 4 months? I doubt it. And that's just a USDC pair. Look at the WETH pair, 604 buys to 284 sells. Another case of the same thing. This stuff is just opportunity for somebody. If anything, this is it's a good time to sell because you were overextended. Price can come back, touch this yellow line, and this is where smart money is going to reaccumulate right on this 1618 level. So you're basically handing over the keys to billions, basically, when you do something like this. And I'm not saying you did the wrong thing. The dude turned 37K into 12 million. Good on you, man. Good on you.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do with it in cash, bro? That shit's going to zero. You know.
Enjoy those taxes.
Taxes.
Also, yeah, that's a good point. So I was going to say about the potential buy support that's in there and how long it might take to absorb something like the remaining 90 million. But at the same time, let's not forget the other account, the new Genesis account that's surfaced, that's now sitting on the side with 10,000 ETH as well. So they're going to be primed and they're going to be excited about this news. So if they're watching, keep your eyes peeled for your particular price ranges. And yeah, you guys see what happened when that guy steps in.
Yeah,
that's going to
just
change
doing
things
some quick
dramatically as
mental
well.
math here. I'm just gonna quick do as you speak. I'm gonna try to add up the amount of bid support there is across the 4 pairs. Quick.
Yeah, so I think from memory, the other guy had 10,000 ETH, which I think at the moment, I mean, obviously prices change a little bit, but I think that was about $15 million. So this guy's now looking to exit potentially with 6. So that's still getting on for a 3-to-1 ratio. So that could be easily absorbed by one of the active buyers inside of the marketplace at the moment. So I think it's fair to say that, people that are waiting for some dip to calm, no financial advice, but potentially a DCA through this sort of range. If this guy continues to sell, which after looking at it now, I'm pretty sure that he will continue to do the rest. He's probably giving it a bit of a rest, see how the market recovers. So yeah, just be a bit cautious out there in case they do continue to dump with power, I suppose. But generally they held it for 6 days. So I was quite surprised. 6 days, before 6 days, they had an 18 million stake that they sold. They unstaked this 127 at the same time. and they just left it in the wallet for 6 days, which made me think that they were definitely not interested in selling the main lump this time. They were going to wait for the snap. Obviously didn't happen. So yeah, I think it's probably quite likely the rest will be coming into the market. So yeah, AXiS, what did you find?
Yeah, so there's 2 million in liquidity. There's 2 million in bid support on the 1% pairs. And just, I mean, I am estimating here because I'm trying to do it quickly, but 30, let's see, ETH wise, you got, I would say average 30 bars at 15 ETH per bar times, what's the price? 1550 right now, ETH maybe.
Yeah, and guys, this can only be approximate because we can't take into consideration limit orders and also how things route through all the other different pool options as well.
So I'm seeing like there's like roughly like 2.8, 2.9 million across all the pools except this pool here, which is our main pool. This one I have to add up. This has got to be like, I think we figured this was 5 million the other day. So 5 million plus another 2.8 million, you're close to like 7 or 8 million in the pools. And if we just pull up the regular Uniswap the pools here, it might give us just an aggregate of what's overall in the pools. Yeah, so it's saying there's 16 million locked, and again, when you look at this, we're at new highs on TVL, which is bullish because what this means is that there's more ETH, there's more HEX, and there's more USDC in the pools, and so long as the trend holds, you're going to continue to see market makers pull the HEX off the market to continue this scarcity of coins on the market, and then you're going to see this TVL slide back down like it did here, where market makers pull the valuable coin off and then leave the ETH and USDC on there to act as support. So this is just typical run-of-the-mill action. As in an uptrend, we saw that back here in 2021, where the price went from 4 cents to 22 cents over like a 5-month time frame, and the TVL only doubled, right? So the TVL going up, is a good thing in the sense that new money's flowing in and old money's getting out. And when that HEX gets deposited in an uptrend like this, typically liquidity providers will pull the liquidity, the HEX liquidity back out, especially if the price were to fall back down into that 5.4 cent and sub levels, right? Because that's where the smart money is providing liquidity right now. And I would encourage people to start to move that up to act as support inside of this range once this shark is done. Let this guy slip the price down to that level. Let your new whales come in and accumulate those levels, and then let's shift it forward and move the liquidity up the bands.
Correct. All right,
guys. Good. Hope you guys enjoyed.
Good
We'll be back next time with another update. All right. Peace.
See you later.
Later.
Bye.